Hello wrestling fans, the Wrestling Wizard here and welcome to another video. And in this video we're going to try and understand the Uncle Howdy character, because I think leading up to this present day and of course the incoming Uncle Howdy / Bo Dallas faction, I think there's a lot of confusion amongst fans as to what is actually coming and the actual origins of Uncle Howdy, what it meant to Bray Wyatt, and of course what it potentially means to Bo Dallas. So we're going to go all the way back to the very first time we of course saw Uncle Howdy. Now technically the very first time we saw the Uncle Howdy mask was actually Extreme Rules, when Bray Wyatt of course made his triumphant return to WWE. He was of course wearing that mask. He took that mask off and of course revealed that he was the man behind the White Rabbit Trail. Now, it's safe to say that Uncle Howdy is a very complex character, and if you look at the first time, I suppose, officially we saw an Uncle Howdy reveal in relation to Bray Wyatt, it was on the Titantron. Remember when he popped up, that creepy mask? "I am just the ghost of the man who sold the world." He said to Bray, "You claim you don't wear a mask, but we both know that's not true. I can see you. You'll never be able to hide from me, your Uncle Howdy." Also making reference to the Fiend as well. You sent him away, blaming Bray for of course what he did in the past, going all the way back to the lead up to WrestleMania 37. And of course the end result of that was Alexa Bliss turning on Bray Wyatt, aka the Fiend. We didn't know how that story was going to pan out post WrestleMania. Of course we never got to find out, but I certainly felt this as a continuation. Let's not forget as well that the crown of thorns were on top of the hat of Uncle Howdy in this Titantron version of Uncle Howdy, which I believe is the true Uncle Howdy. I believe all along Uncle Howdy is make-believe, but to Bray he's always meant something, because he's been a character that's haunted Bray since his childhood, and he's part of Bray's darkest psyche. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen the TV series Dexter, but I certainly feel that a lot of inspiration was drawn from this in the Uncle Howdy storyline. Now, in a nutshell, if you haven't seen Dexter before, Dexter is a forensic blood analyst, essentially. And on the surface, he seems like a happy chappy, but actually deep down, he's a serial killer, sort of secret serial killer. And he has this dark passenger in his head in Harry, who was his adoptive father. No one can see him, no one can hear him, it's only Dexter, and this sends him down a dark path. He certainly embraces the darkness, that's for sure. And I certainly feel this is similar to what Uncle Howdy was to Bray Wyatt. He was the deepest, darkest thoughts within, and he could be influenced via this dark passenger. Let's also not forget the huge clue that was in the lyrics of the Bray Wyatt theme Shatter. "I am the coil, I am the spring, I am the ghost in the machine." Uncle Howdy is essentially everything. He's the one in control. He is the puppet master. And Bray Wyatt could always refer to Uncle Howdy as the leader. He essentially did when he said, "I'm just the servant now. I go where the circle takes me." Now, moving on to the second time we saw Uncle Howdy. And this was a physical Uncle Howdy reveal. And it was during the Bray Wyatt LA Knight feud, which, by the way, doesn't get enough credit. It was an absolute fire feud, and of course elevated LA Knight and took him on to another stratosphere. And so in this whole storyline, essentially LA Knight was calling Bray Wyatt a liar. LA Knight had been attacked multiple times by a figure in what seemed to be an Uncle Howdy mask, similar to the one that we saw Bray Wyatt wearing all the way back at Extreme Rules, and similar to the one that we'd seen multiple times popping up on the Titantron. Of course, green eyes, well, sort of yellowish green eyes in the Firefly Funhouse on the television set, and of course we've seen multiple versions with red eyes and other versions. But this was the first time we saw a physical Uncle Howdy. And the reason we saw this was Bray Wyatt was trying to pull the wool over the eyes of LA Knight to make it look like he wasn't the one that attacked him by revealing another version of Uncle Howdy. Now, who was playing this version of Uncle Howdy at this time? We will never know. I've got a hunch. I've got a feeling, potentially, that it was Jason Baker. Just the physique, the height, the stature. It comes across like it could well be Jason Baker portraying Uncle Howdy for Bray to protect Bray's lives. At this point, it was not Bo Dallas. That is not Bo Dallas, and that is a completely different mask to the version we saw with Bo Dallas, which we'll come on to in a moment. This is a full-on rubber mask. Like, this is arguably the best version of Uncle Howdy physically we'd seen, I think, in my opinion. But of course, you're never going to be able to wrestle in that, like, not in a million years. So I understand why not. But this was Bray essentially lying to us as well, the fans, trying to make it look like he wasn't the one behind the attacks. Probably knew full well it was Bray Wyatt in an Uncle Howdy mask attacking LA Knight. And this was just all a setup. The laugh in the background as well, it's clearly Bray Wyatt's laugh. And also look at the state of confusion that Bray Wyatt had on his face at that time as well. And as a result, sort of confusing himself at the same time as well. It's genius psychological storytelling here. And of course, we saw the third version of Uncle Howdy, another physical version, which of course we know now was being portrayed by Bo Dallas to protect Bray Wyatt's lies. It was even in the lyrics again. Lie for me, brother. Use me for cover. When things break, things shatter. So, for 100% certainty, the only reason Bo Dallas was portraying Uncle Howdy was to protect his brother, to protect his lies, because all along, Bray Wyatt had been aware of Uncle Howdy, where that circle was eventually going to lead to. The return of the Fiend, an evolved version of the Fiend, Wyndham's final creation. Of course, we found out that in the Bray Wyatt documentary, that was going to be somewhere near the end game when it come to this Bray Wyatt storyline. But knowing Wyndham, it would never have been the end game, it would have just been the start. So throughout that whole time, Bray Wyatt was fully aware of what Uncle Howdy was, and he was getting his brother to lie for him, essentially. Make it look like all he needed was a little push. When, of course, Uncle Howdy came to the ring and delivered the Sister Abigail on Bray Wyatt. The only reason we saw that is because Bray was trying to convince LA Knight again that he wasn't the one that attacked him. That all he needed was that little nudge to go to the dark side, to fully embrace the darkness, for Bray Wyatt to revel in what you are. Not for a single second was this genuine. This was Bo fully embracing the Uncle Howdy role for his brother. Now, all your opinions are welcome in the comment section on this, but what are your thoughts on Uncle Howdy and the continuation of this Uncle Howdy character potentially post Bray Wyatt? Because I personally don't see how we're going to ever see again a physical version of Uncle Howdy when we look at the storyline of previous. Yes, of course, we saw the lantern light up. Yes, of course, we saw a figure picking up that Uncle Howdy hat with the crown of thorns on it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Bo Dallas is going to portray Uncle Howdy again. I took it as that's the spirit of Bray Wyatt living on forever. You can't kill Bray Wyatt. He is literally forever. He is everything. And Bray Wyatt is a huge part of this new storyline, this evolution of Uncle Howdy into 2024 spiritually. And I love that. The words of the Red are actually the words of Bray Wyatt in relation to Bo Dallas. He wants his brother to fulfill his own legacy, go on and smash it out the park, create his own family, start his own faction against the naysayers. And there are a lot of naysayers, and there will be. But Bo Dallas can go on and forge his own legacy with Uncle Howdy, aka Bray Wyatt, in the background. Uncle Howdy can still be a huge part of this. He can be the ghost in the machine, the puppet master. But I do not think we're going to see Uncle Howdy being portrayed physically by Bo. Now, of course, we can't rule this out completely. Bo Dallas could well go on to portray Uncle Howdy again physically with some tweaks to that character. And also, we don't know whether Uncle Howdy was maybe part of Bo Dallas's darkest psyche as well, haunted him in his childhood, and now Uncle Howdy is in Bo Dallas's head. Like, that would be really, really cool. I wouldn't mind that, actually. But I'm really, really intrigued to see what goes on. I personally think we're going to see a breakaway from Bo Dallas portraying Uncle Howdy like we did previous. Like that physical version. I don't think we'll see that again. I really don't. I can't see how they can do that and how closely linked that was to the Bray Wyatt storyline. But what is going to come? I mean, there were so many versions of Uncle Howdy that we saw. So many different masked versions. Of course, we then saw Uncle Howdy go after Alexa Bliss as well. And seemingly, Uncle Howdy only seems to affect certain characters. So maybe it's just Bray, Bo, and Alexa that are affected by Uncle Howdy. I don't know how this is going to pan out. I don't know how this is going to unfold. That's the beauty of it. It's really, really intriguing and super, super like secretive as well, really, in a way. We just don't know what capacity we're going to see Uncle Howdy in. But what do you think? Get down in the comment section, share your thoughts and opinions, and as always, it'd be very much appreciated if you could like the video, share the video, and even better, subscribe if you're new. We'll catch you in the next one.